What if we could learn from outstanding leaders in business, sports, and education from some of the best voices in corporate America? Lighting the Path is a series of interviews with industry leaders whose stories highlight strategies that build purpose-driven cultures, engage and retain top talent, develop drivers that create high-performance teams, and connect people to the vision of your company. Join us to hear from game-changing, talented leaders whose paths make a difference at work and at home.
So their mind says, I'm going to have to keep doing this mind-numbingly treacherous work of interviewing and hiring people, which neither of us are uncomfortable with, until I say yes to somebody. So as soon as I get somebody that's like not as ugly as the last five, I'm going to hire them. So we designed our platform with the ability to really filter in a very human, because your brand's at stake when people come into your hiring process, like how you treat people. Not, you can't treat them cold and a million gauntlets for them. But if you can treat them in a very human, kind way coming through the process, and they feel loved and feel whatever your culture is, and your, the think, feel, act is right on time. But I can allow you to interact with 160 candidates, you're going to have a much better hiring outcome. So that's the project that we've been heads down working on over the last 5 years.
Yeah, the brilliance behind that is really simple. In the fact of when you start the hiring process, establish your benchmark, establish the level that you're looking for, as opposed to going in the market to find out who's the best that's available.
Yeah,
Because the best that's available may be below you really want to hire, but they're the best that I can find, so I'm moving that direction. It undermines the hiring process.
Yeah, here's something that'll maybe it'll blow your mind. It does me, and I've helped create it. So imagine somebody applies to your company. Doesn't matter where they come from, Indeed, social media, it doesn't matter. They submit their resume, and a little bit of time goes by, and we in our system take their resume, analyze the resume, research the human, and then we send them a custom video from the CEO or the hiring manager that says, hey, Mike, I noticed you applied for XYZ job and you have this experience here and there, which might be interesting to us. So I'm really encouraging you to go through our process. We have had a ton of people apply. So we have a couple of automated stages. So if you can do those really quick, we can point you in the right direction. Looking forward to meeting you. And I can send that out custom to 1,000 applicants every single day. And the CEO never has to touch it and never has to look at the resume. Is that going to be a different experience than somebody hitting a job board, applying something, getting a message that says, we'll be back with you shortly, maybe takes 3 or 4 days. Now we play phone tags. Now there's an ugly email that comes. We take away all of that.
Yeah. Well, and the other part that you do, Jonathan, is that you're taking the face of the company, and in a digital world, you're pushing the human face in the middle of the interaction with that person. So now they become emotionally connected to the process as opposed to just data.
Yeah, and even if it's not the CEO, because
whoever,
people won't expect the CEO, but it's a face,
it's a face, somebody, whoever it is.
and it's a real person who, when they show up at the company, they're going to meet that person.
Yeah.
So, but what happens is you have an HR department who's used to sort of their hair being on fire and all this like busy work. Like I gotta scroll through resumes and I gotta email and text message people and I gotta that. When we install our system, it just goes quiet because the system is doing all this interviewing in a way that is way more personable than that HR person could ever be. That they sort of get nervous. So they're like, "What am I doing? I don't, because that's their job." And what we tell people is that quiet time is where you can now spend your time deeply engaged with the handful of candidates that can actually do the job. You can wow them and you can spend all sorts of time mastering that last mile of the hiring journey instead of all this first where you're just digging through. Like the truth is, you do have to cast a wider and wider net and bring in more and more people to find a handful of really good people. Unfortunately, that's the way society is trending. Part of it is like, you go back to, we talked about, are you the billboard? If your company's not the billboard and your leaders aren't the billboard, you're really fighting an uphill battle when you get somebody in, right? They're screening you as hard as you're
you betcha
screening them. And by the way, if you're asking somebody to give you their 20s and 30s, And that's what we're asking for people when we hire them. Like, give us the best years of your life. Like, what's in return? These are people who grew up online, social media, being sold this dream that for no effort, they can sit on a beach in Bali and earn 200K a year. It's not that they don't want to work. They just don't want to work for you
Hmm.
because they are constantly having access to the kinds of things people do. Now, is it realistic you're going to earn 200K from a beach in Bali? No. You're probably not also going to play in the NFL, but they're also exposed to all of these other companies that are doing really good things. So the standard is way higher than it used to be, and people want to matter. They want to the social connection in society has been weakened enough that people are hungry for it. They're hungry for leadership. They're hungry for connection. They're hungry to be in an environment that makes them greater, that's in harmony with their identity.
Yeah. So I've got a question on this concept of, that I think is so important you're talking about is making sure people feel like that they matter. What, how do you coach a leader? What are the two things a leader can actually do um, to make sure that the people that are reporting to them or are choosing to follow them, what do I do to make sure my people know that they matter?
Uh, be human.
But tell me what that I've read that,
Yeah.
but what is
Yeah.
in your mind? What does be human mean? How do you
Yeah.
coach Mike to be human?
Yeah. It means when I have a conversation with Mike, I actually care who Mike is as a human.
Hmm.
I'm not asking you, I'm not every communication I have with you is about, are you delivering some KPI for me? Right. So I'll give you an example. I had a guy recently start with me, in an HR interview. I'm not going to be asking him, is he married? He's doing all that thing. But right early on in the very first conversations we had post being hired, I said, hey, are you willing to go deep, or you just want to, like, nice job and, like, no, 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 I really want to go. You just get permission to be real with
Hmm.
people. Say, great. Well, you know, what's the most important thing to you? I need to get fit. I need to do good. Cool, great. What do you want to weigh? What does that mean to you? Like, it has
Hmm.
nothing to do with the job, right? He wants to be financially successful for his family. I said, great. What's the most amount of money you've ever had in your bank account? And most people, from an HR standpoint, aren't having those kind of conversations. But guess
Yeah,
what?
it's the litigious society. We think that that's way I can't cross that line.
Yeah, but there's no line. I can
Hmm.
ask you how much money you have in your bank account if
That's
I'm
right.
courageous.
That's it.
But
Am- am-
he has to trust, and he did, because our entire process up to that point is built on trust.
mhm.
And I'm like, if you come to work for me, the number one thing I can guarantee you, you're going to be a better human when you leave than when you came, because we're going to work on it nonstop. You're going to be in a better financial position when you leave than when you start. You're going to be in better physical shape when you leave than when you start. Those are all things people want. So, how do you show people that you're interested in them and they matter? You have to be so clued into their identity, their identity. So now it's easy when I talk to him. I'm like, he comes in, right? And this happens to be a sales job, and he does 20 appointments that he's a commission salesperson on, and he has a 2% close rate. It's easy for me to go to him and say, look, you said it was really important for you to have financial security in your future. In fact, you told me you only had X. I'm not going to, publicly say the amount of money he had, that was the best you'd ever had. You want to do the math with me? He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, let's talk about, like, if you got your close rate to 60%, you would have earned X commission check, which would have been half the amount of money you've ever had in the bank in one setting. So let me ask you, how can we work together to get your close rate up? Because I'm here and I'm willing to do anything I can to help you get there, but you have to want it.
Yeah. So with your
That's a totally different conversation. So guess what? Every night from 7 to 8 p.m., we're on a call role playing. I'm not going to do it during daytime hours. I don't have time, but I am going to show up from 7 to 8. I'm going to invest that time for 2 weeks. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be unrecruitable.
hmm,
I
yeah,
also
'cause-
told him, look, there's a difference between saying you want something and doing it, right? Everybody says, I want to be healthy. So I asked him, what does healthy mean? Well, because he knows how to be healthy. Oh, I got to eat right. I got to show up to the gym. Great. How often would you show up to the gym? Probably 5 days a week. Great. I want you to text me a picture every day that you're in the gym. The day you don't, I want you to give me permission to fire you.
Ooh, skin in the game.
And he said, sure, I'll do it. He has every day texting me a picture of himself in the gym. So we're at the end of 45 days. Is he healthier? Yeah, because something that was important to him, he knew he was unhealthy. He
Hmm.
knew I prioritized that, and he can feel his finances getting better, but he hasn't gotten there yet. But I've made it exceedingly real to him that it's his fault and totally within his control, and I'm willing to help him.
Hmm.
But you can't have those kind of conversations if you're not willing to roll up your sleeves and get dirty in understanding humans.
Right. Yeah. And
Like,
this whole thing about somebody
you,
feeling valued,
yeah,
is the word I wrote down over here is that are you doing things that show that you care? The example you just gave, without using that word,
yeah, but
you
yeah,
lived out
yeah,
that I care about that
yeah.
person.
And you talked about words being spark. The spark that went off in my mind when you said care is this like surface level things people do that show they care. I get somebody a card. I do like you have to deeply care.
Yeah,
Like
I like that. That's the
you,
word in front of it. It's like
yeah,
productive conflicts, deeply care.
you have to be disconnected from what I need from you. Because what I
Hmm.
know is if I get you the thing that you most want and I make you reach your identity, you will go into battle for me. You will do
Hmm.
anything. And by the way, you're not going to sue me either. The safest thing to do is to get close to your employees because people are starving for attention.
Hmm.
And when they can tell you genuinely care, you can cross a lot of other boundaries. And I'm not encouraging people to cross boundaries, but these artificial boundaries between humans, which by the way, are just crap.
Hmm.
So in my book, I talk about recruiting the spouse. So take the spouse to dinner, bring them into the office, show them what the requirements are, show them the dream that you're building, where you're going, get them bought into your vision. As they say, I'm not just going to use a guy because I can speak to guys, better than women. When a woman can see her husband is becoming a better man and is earning financially and doesn't go home wanting to kick the dog, and he's inspired and he's speaking love into his family. If he has a frustrating day at work and I put pressure on him, he goes home and he says, I'm gonna quit. What do you think the wife's gonna say? The wife's gonna say, oh, come on. Like everybody has a hard day. You just buck up and get to work. Because she loves who he's
Yeah,
becoming.
she becomes your cheerleader at home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and one of
But
the favorite things I used to do was that in the hiring process was, and it was $100 investment, but I'd buy $100 American Express gift card and would send it to the person we've just hired and said, take out your wife and another couple that you care about and have dinner to celebrate your new role on us. And so
yeah.
now they're going out to dinner, and they're celebrating and they're creating this memorable moment that we get credit for.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is you get to design it. That's
Hmm.
the think, feel, act. People don't want to call it thought control, but what you just did was try to control thought.
Yep.
I just
Yep.
say get hyper aware of it and like just get granular because when you do, now you have this flywheel effect that automatically takes care of itself and you don't have to be there and it'll keep going. So like I've been working with Andy Elliott. He's one of the fastest growing sales and development companies on the planet right now. Went from 0 to 100 million in 3 years.
Mm.
But he's got salespeople working for him, 100% commission that are under 30 earning $1 million a year. And they have a culture so strong. And he's a co-author in this book with me. Uh, their culture is so strong. I remember the first time I walked in and met Andy and walked into his building. It was like I walked into a real life version of my book, The Sales Boss. So we became instant friends. It was like he understands this at a masterful level. And he did uh, intuitively the things that most people need an architect to help them do. And it's amazing. So you go to his sales meetings when he's not there, the meeting's actually even better, but you'll have the whole team and Andy and Jackie, it's the husband and wife, and she's the CEO of the business. They'll say, guys, don't Andy and Jackie do a lot for us? Like, you really want to embarrass them by the way you're acting today?
Mm.
Like, you're sitting here, you've got your foot up on the wall and scuffing the wall, and you left your trash down. Do you realize how much that chair cost? And you really think they need to pay somebody else to paint it just because you can't stand up straight?
That's funny. Yeah, you reminded me
Like,
of being in a meeting one day and one of our employees said, we can't do that. And I said, why not? Because that's not the Steverson way, which was the name
yeah,
of our company. I'm going, what? Tell me more about that. It's whenever the
yeah,
people in the organization, when you're not there, that they're
yeah.
carrying on this thing. And there's something, Jonathan, that as we wrap this up, I don't want to lose this because we're talking about having an unrecruitable team, making people feel valued. There's something that you just demonstrated that we have to get better at doing to make somebody feel valued, and that's delivering the difficult message. Whenever somebody is not performing, not crossing our fingers and hoping they're going to do better, it's is having that conversation that's a little bit uncomfortable. It's having that conversation that focuses attention on where changes need to be made, but do
Mm,
it in a way that you're not coming across like the dictator coming down, but you're
mm,
literally coming alongside them and are willing to
yeah,
help them. But you got to be willing to address the elephant in the room and
yeah.
focus on that.
And you have to have earned the right
Yes.
to have the difficult conversation. The problem is many leaders are heads down doing their thing. They're not bad people, but they don't spend any time with their people.
Hmm.
Like, as long as that person's performing adequately, it's like, okay, let me do my thing.
Yeah.
Then when they notice something isn't, that's the first time they pop their head up and they want to have a difficult conversation. They haven't earned the right to. But
Not at all.
if you've had a bunch of conversations and interaction and this person knows you really care about them, I have fired people who I've ended up being lifelong friends with
Because
because
they knew you cared
they knew I cared.
deeply. They
And
cared deeply. Cared
yeah, and
deeply.
they went on to fix the thing that caused me to need to let them go.
Mm.
Right? Like, my belief in my company is that we hire champions, and you have to be a champion the first day your foot steps on the field. I don't hire anybody but champions. Now, does that mean we don't coach? Of course, we coach. Championship teams always get coaching. Champions
Hmm.
always watch game tapes. Champions are always getting better. But you know what? A non-champion never makes it on the team to begin with. That's the standard. So if you make it onto the team, you're already a champion, and you already have value just because you're a human.
You betcha. It's like you
But
remind me of Carl
yeah,
Mecklenburg, played for the Denver Broncos, 12 times All Pro. I got a chance to meet Carl, interview him twice now. And I said, what's it like playing for the Denver Broncos and having your name on the side of Mile High Stadium? He says, it's like walking onto the field that everybody on the field is a world-class athlete.
yeah,
Now your job is to stand out.
yeah. And so in the book, though, I talk about how do you help people have that identity. I'll just give you an example in one company that I coached and worked with. There's a difference between you hire somebody, you bring them in, there's an onboarding process, and you check the box, they made it through onboarding. Right? Everybody
Hmm.
wants to make it through onboarding, they're going to feel okay. But how do you shape identity? Well, if you say, we do hard things because we're champions, and you have to earn a spot on the team. One, the right kind of person, that's like ear candy to them. They're like, oh, I want to prove myself. I want to stand out. I'm not mediocre. I'm not average.
Hmm.
The people that are mediocre and average, they're just not going to step onto the field. So this person steps onto the field, and in one of the conference rooms, really tall wall, they see all of these stapled pieces of fabric about this wide, and it has a signature of person's name and how many days it took for them to get there to their first 100,000. And it's stapled on the wall. It's like an
Mm.
award wall.
Right?
And they tell the story of, hey, around here, you have to do this and you have to do this. And when you get to 100,000, then you get to staple. And they hand them this bridesmaid style, uh, what do you
Dash.
call that?
Dash.
Sash.
Yeah.
And they have to wear that every day until they hit their first 100K.
Oh, that's funny.
How hard do you think they work to get rid of that sash?
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, I heard somebody say, well, that's sort of like hazing. No, it's identity metrics. I'm not beating up on the person. They know the game. Like, and if you're in sports, right, they retire the jersey, they put it up on the wall. This is your newbie
Right.
jersey. And I'm putting it on here so everyone is paying attention to your calls and everybody around here wants you to succeed. And so they're going to pay extra close attention to you so you don't blend in. You don't want you blending in. We don't want you to get overlooked. We want to make sure you get 100% of the attention you need. But they're looking at that wall and they're like, oh, I'm going to be up on that
I'm gonna
wall.
get on that wall. That's so now you're controlling what they're focusing on.
Yeah.
Control their
So
focus.
thinking, ooh, thought, they create champions here. They can see evidence of it on the wall. I'm a champion. That's the feeling. I'm going to succeed. How do they
Hmm.
act? They stay up late. They study harder. They quiz. I'm going to have, and then imagine when you do the ceremony and you bring the music out, you bring a step ladder in, bring it on, they sign it, everybody cheers, you got the film going, you staple it on the wall, and then you take a picture with the CEO and you text it to their significant other and you say, man, they're a champion. You have just cemented an identity. And people have a really hard time walking away from an identity. That makes somebody unrecruitable.
Yeah, because they feel a part of something bigger than themselves.
But let me tell you the problem. You get a leader that's new in the business and they want to do that and they go, oh, I want to do that. And then they start doing it and it's awkward because there's only one thing on the wall. So you have to be a great storyteller. You have to be willing to go, look, I haven't served you as a leader the way I should have led you as a leader. I know I have so much more potential in me as a leader, and you're going to see me radically change. You're going to see me getting the best health of my life. You're going to see me understanding how to coach and develop people better. I'm sorry I've let you down. Can you forgive me? And they're going to say, sure. It's great for you to hear that because we thought you were sort of subpar anyway. And then you say, and I want to ask of you as I go through that journey, can I have permission to just really be authentic and honest with you and coach you and like, look, can we grow this together?
Yeah,
And they're
you're
going
getting
to say,
buy-in.
sure. Then they're going to say, sure. That's how a leader has to do a reset. And then it's going to be awkward for a while. Like, but you just design it and you co-design it with me. Say, this is why I'm doing it because we're going to bring other people in. And you had this shitty well, excuse me, you had this you can beep that you had this onboarding that was just not that special.
Hmm.
In my book, The Sales Boss, I say things are good or bad by comparison. And I have leaders who think they're great at interviewing. You know why? Because they're better than the 2 interviews they sat in when they were trying to get a job. They don't have anything to compare them to.
Yeah, in
They,
other words, that they're working on but going back to something we talked about earlier, the benchmark is too low.
yeah,
You got to constantly be focusing, pointing their attention to the benchmark.
they're a champion in their own mind.
That's right.
They are winning, but they're winning the wrong game because they haven't compared themselves to great. So in our book, we want to expose people to what does an elite onboarding look like? What does an elite sales team actually look like? If you can get people to see it, look, I'll say this universally. Well, I won't say it universally. 99.9% of people, if they've built a business, $1 million, $2 million, 10 million, 20, 40, 50, I don't care. Anything over $1 million, you're probably not stupid, right?
Probably.
Like you're intelligent, you got to
Right.
work. That's why I said 99.9.
That's right.
Like, some people luck into $1 million business, but like they're intelligent. And it isn't that they can't do it if they've seen it. It's simply they haven't seen it. They don't see it as a standard. And if they could see it and have a playbook, they could do it. They just haven't had the playbook and they haven't seen it. So they're comfortable. Like they're like, oh, people just, people don't want to work anymore.
Which is
No.
wrong.
Yeah, it's not that people don't want to work anymore. They just don't want to work for you.
Yeah. Or they don't want to put the extra out of what it takes uh, to put
That's it.
the driving. And so this has been, I'm Jonathan. This has been delightful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, anybody who watches this can definitely see your passion for this message about helping to shape and reshape rather culture. If somebody
Yes.
wants to get in contact with you, we'll be dropping this in the show notes. But to tell those who might be listening in, what's the best way to find you?
Sales boss, unrecruitable. You'll find me. Those 2 words are going to get me. I'm
Yeah.
easy. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, so hit Amazon and check out his new book that just came in. I think it's an important message in today's time because especially for somebody who came out of the executive search industry, what we looked for were we couldn't. Some people use the word steal. The recruiters are headhunters. They go and steal people. There's nothing I could do to go steal somebody. I
Yeah.
had to go find the cracks in the hole in the wall, find something that was cracked in there for me to go in there and find that and find somebody
And
else to fill those cracks.
I hadn't planned to do this, Mike, but I will for you, for your listeners. For your listeners that go out to Amazon and pre-order it or order it by the time you put this out, it probably they
Probably
won't
ordered. Yeah,
pre-order till next Wednesday. Um, and they message you and send a picture of them with the book, I will give them a 2-day ticket to come out to our live session in Scottsdale, Arizona. We spend 2 days and we go through interview training, how to conduct what we call a talent reveal interview, how to do a group interview, how to do executive level interviews. We go through a bunch of examples of how you can do the think, feel, act audit, and I will give them 2 tickets. They can bring somebody on their team, and they're just going to be courtesy of Mike.
I love it. Super. Well, great. We'll make sure we drop that in the show notes also. Uh,
Awesome. And
Jonathan, thanks.
you'll have to come out and see me as well.
I need a trip out there. I need a trip out there.
Yes.
And
All
so
right.
I wish you great. Yeah. Wish you great success.
Yeah, awesome. And good luck on your new book as well. I just ordered it, so I'm going to read it as well.
Super. Thanks for joining us today on Lighting the Path, Strategies for Tomorrow's Leaders. If anything in this podcast speaks to you, if I've challenged you, or if you want to spend time digging into this subject a little deeper, or if you disagree with me, reach out. My contact information is on our website, lightingthepath.net, or email me at mike@mikelejeune.com. Also, look for me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect our networks. Keep lighting the path for those who choose to follow you. It's more than a responsibility. It's an honor.